Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Stirring the Pot. We are back for the second half of our mock draft for the 2026 NFL Draft, which we can officially say we will be attending this year. Going to be very fun. It is in Pittsburgh, in the neck of the woods, near us here in Morgantown, West Virginia. It's a bit of a drive, but it's not too bad of a drive at all, especially considering the fact that John and I have to trek back 5-6 hours to go home from college. But right now, RJ Rice will be late to this episode, so it's just me, Dom, and John in the studio right now for you guys. We're going to go over some news, but before we do that, guys, how you feeling today?
Oh, I think we're all ready for spring break. I feel like the candle's going out, and I'm basically done with schoolwork. Well, I'm done. Schoolwork's still going on, but
yeah.
We're all ready to get out of here and go home and then come back and hopefully be able to play golf by the time the weather clears up. I mean, over the past 2 weeks, we've had below 20-degree weather, and then the next day it'll be like 60 degrees, then right back to winter weather. Today it's rainy, and then I'm sure tomorrow it'll be a nice like 12 degrees and snowing again. So it's been on and off with the winter coat and changing outfits. I mean, today, honestly, you could have worn shorts. I don't know. I just don't like the weather here. I'm sick and tired of it. I'll probably go live in Florida for the rest of my life in isolation.
Welcome to Stirring the Weather with Dom Briscoe, our new podcast. We talk about everything but football.
Yes, we talk about a lot of fun things. Stirring
the forecast.
If you want to listen to fun talks about getting real serious talk, yeah, go tune in to Sports Night. Real fun event.
And you will never hear Dom Briscoe on that, will you now?
Nope.
If you tune in tonight, you will, but that'll be next week.
It's like seeing a Bigfoot, Rare to see Dom Briscoe on Sports Night nowadays.
Yep.
I was thinking about making brownies for everybody. Oh, no. No.
We're not that nice around here. So there is some news going around the NFL as of late, especially one that broke today. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, as we are recording. Just a disclaimer before we get into our mock drafts. These mock drafts were procreated before the combine. So they're very inaccurate as to what the outlook would look like right now. So we're just going to go through this. We'll have our second mock draft come around to you guys near draft time. It's going to be like mid to late April. But there's a couple things we need to talk about in the NFL because Trent McDuffie got traded from the Chiefs today to the LA Rams. It was for four draft selections. This year's first-round pick from the LA Rams. It was a 5th-round pick, a 6th-round pick, and next year's 3rd-round pick, all for the former All-Pro Trent McDuffie. That will surely do something for the Rams. There's 2 other ones we're going to talk about, but this is probably the biggest one. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think the Rams have only picked one guy in the first round in the last, 10 years, and that was Jared Verse. He was a first-rounder, Jared Verse. I mean, pretty good to have that be your one first-round pick, but it's Les Snead going back to, oh my God, it's RJ Rice.
Well, speak
here.
His name, he shall appear.
But I feel like Les Snead's going back to his old ways of, let's just trade our picks for good players. Who cares about drafting? They got the good news about Matt Stafford wanted to come back, play another year. This Rams team was very close. It was honestly probably the second-best team in the NFL this year to the Seahawks. They just couldn't beat them in either of their last 2 meetings. And they have one glaring weakness, and a couple of us I think a lot of us mocked them a cornerback earlier in this mock draft, and that was their secondary. And they're going to get a guy who's a proven secondary player, who's a guy they're going to have to pay, who the Chiefs didn't want to pay. And it's going to really probably be a big contributor to this team next year. So you have to love this trade for the Rams. They're going all in this year. And they also are just benefiting from an amazing trade last year by Les Snead, getting that second first-round pick to make this trade a bit more stomachable. This is their later first-round pick this year. This is the pick we're actually going to be mocking this episode. We're going to keep it the Rams pick right now. We're going to kind of talk about it. It's going to be an asterisk on it, but they obviously benefited from a great trade last year, getting that Falcons first-round pick in the trade. They eventually sent the Falcons James Pierce Jr., which does not look the best right now. But, Dom, what are your thoughts on this trade right here?
My thoughts are, as a guy who does not really like the Chiefs, I don't like to see them get any hype or excitement or anything like that could help them to build up and potentially win their division next year, even though their division has gotten a lot tougher. I do like the trade for the Chiefs, and I feel like I don't know. I agree with you that the Rams have something. I mean, they have an almost complete roster. They make basically the NFC Championship every year at this point, but somehow just lose in weird fashions every year, like the Saquon Barkley snow game. This year it was the who was in the who did they lose? I don't know.
They lost to Seahawks.
They lost to the Seahawks, who had a offensive powerhouse, and I mean, they get closer and closer and closer every year to getting back to the Super Bowl. I mean, they previously won one in the past 5 years, so it's not like saying that they're in a drought or anything. But
What? No, they didn't.
yeah,
The Cincinnati Bengals won that Super Bowl.
good trade on their behalf. They clearly need to fix that secondary. I mean, I'm going to probably adjust my pick. I have the same guy, but I'll just say he's going to go to the Chiefs at this point because I'm just going to be boring like that.
I mean,
but
they kind of have similar needs, I feel like.
they do have similar needs.
She's kind of everything, I'm not going to lie.
But I'm not changing.
They're in a rough spot right now.
And you should keep in mind that every year we usually project, I don't know, we should probably pull a statistic for next mock draft of like all of our combined takes and how much we end up getting right, because it's probably like, I'm just curious what percent we usually get right. We get a good amount of picks, so.
Sometimes, yeah.
So I'm only assuming we've just brought up the Trent McDuffie trade, and that's
Yes.
it, right?
This is the start, yeah.
Okay. Oh, sweet. I didn't miss much. I thought I missed a good amount. Okay. Trent McDuffie trade. Did we go over comp yet for that?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. I think it's a great trade for the Rams. They're going all in. Matthew Stafford does not have many years left, people. I think for the Rams, especially, you want a defensive guy you can build around for the future. This is a great trade. I think if you can have that ability to have that, I think if you didn't have that Atlanta pick, if you were the Rams, you don't make this deal. It's just plain and simple. You have pick 29. It's your own pick. You're able to expend that. 5th and a 6th, and then a 3rd. That's really not bad value for a guy in Trent McDuffie. I believe he's, 25?
I believe that's correct.
It's the 5th year of his, or at least last year of his rookie deal. He's probably going to get the deal that's going to make him the highest paid corner in the NFL. Look, he's great. He played at all-pro level, and if the Rams can get that out of him, I mean, it's incredible. Almost, I mean, I'm assuming one of you made the Marcus Peters connection already.
No, we
did
did not.
Yeah, also a Chief to Ram trade.
Yeah, and I believe there was
I believe so.
another one. I believe the Chiefs or Rams traded one of their high-end corners recently.
L'Jarius Sneed got traded from the Chiefs.
It was L'Jarius
That was a
He got
Sneed.
traded to the Titans.
He got
I think
traded
he's
to the
still
Titans.
there.
He's still there.
Surprisingly.
He's
He
a
is.
terrible corner.
He is not a terrible
Yeah, he
corner.
was really good.
There's two other ones we need to talk about. David Montgomery obviously going to the Texans via trade. And I think the one that really matters the most for somebody in this room right here, the pressure is building to get a long-term deal done for star running back Breece Hall. He was franchise tagged by the Jets. And that basically said, ball's in your court, buddy. John, I need to hear your thoughts on this.
I'm so happy that we didn't lose him for nothing. I mean, teams wanted him at the trade deadline. I think the Chiefs offered a 4th-round pick for him, and the Jets said, we want a 3rd. The Chiefs didn't give him that, and then Breece Hall's a Jet. I mean, you can't lose him for nothing if you pass up a trade for him. You can't lose him for nothing. And the reality is, he's a guy who's just been the engine of this offense the past 2 years, in which he just had very subpar quarterback play. He was great last year. I think for the Jets, keeping him around swing, you definitely want to do because you're going to have a young quarterback in here at some point. Probably not this year, however, but definitely at bare minimum, you're going to have one in next year. And you want that quarterback to have as much succeed as possible. And I think the Jets, Darren Mook at the Combine said Breece Hall will be a Jet next year. And he went out of his way and just did exactly that. Gave him the franchise tag. I think there is going to be a good faith negotiating effort here about the Jets trying to get an extension done. But I think the more interesting part of this for the NFL fan is just the running back market, because they did not apply the transition tag to him because they thought he might get a pretty big deal that they wouldn't want to match in free agency. So I'd say this running back market could be pretty interesting right here. A lot of people are talking about Denver was going to make a big push for him if he was transition tagged by the Jets, but I'm very happy he's back. I hope he can be a Jet for a while, and I just hope we can keep these good players around because, it's only him and Garrett left. Jermaine Johnson's gone. Only him and Garrett are left in that great draft class. So it's the Jets right now. You can't let anybody walk out of the door if they're a good player. You just can't, even if they're running back. And you have to pay them a lot more than you probably want to do that.
I'm going to let you guys cover Kyler Murray, as I don't really.
Oh, yeah, Kyler.
Yeah, but my concern is about David Montgomery. I'm not really moved by him going to Houston because they kind of just do this year after year with Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, and I don't know. Houston is just a weird place for me to even. They don't really do well with running backs for some reason.
I'm
Damian
moved by it.
Pierce, Woody Marks.
Mixon was
What is
great
this
They were
for
both
him.
young.
What is this staff?
Mixon was great for him, and he just got hurt.
Yeah, Mixon
Mixon was really good for him.
Mixon was on the wrong end of the injury bug. I do agree that they do sometimes take older backs and they just don't get the most production out of them, but I feel like David Montgomery's a bit of an exception in
He's
this
like
one. He's still kind of in the towards the tail end of the prime of his career, but I think he's nowhere near as, I'd say, old and kind of washed up as, like, say, the
Nick
Joe
Chubb
Mix-
was-
the
Nick
Joe
Chubb
Mixon
Yeah,
was
like
he's not
Chubb,
washed. It's just Houston's system. I don't like it.
It was a mix. It was a
doesn't
mix
bode
of,
for
mix
power
of
backs.
differences too. That Chubb had a very major injury not even 2 years ago. It's a little bit of thing to add for that, but also for David Montgomery, you can also pair him with a guy like Woody Marks. He doesn't have to be. I mean, you can use him as the work tailback if you need to, but if you have Woody Marks for the speed, David Montgomery can be the power guy. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of shade of similarity. He's nowhere near Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying the style of play and how you use him would obviously be Montgomery gets more carries, but he is power instead of speed.
I think we should just do an episode how Zach Charbonnet ruined running back tandem.
I was just going to
We should
compare
do
it to
that.
K-Wall
We should
Zach
do that.
Charbonnet.
No,
should do that.
you're forgetting
For
about Tyler
fantasy.
Algier. Tyler Algier is also up there.
See,
Can't
No,
forget
he's
him.
not.
For fantasy.
For fantasy.
Is what it screwed up. I think Charbonnet, if you're like looking at it from a pure coaching perspective, it preserved Kenneth Walker's health so he could play in the postseason because he's been on the wrong end of the injury bug a lot of times in his career so far. So from a coaching standpoint, that's a great thing. But if you're a fantasy owner of Kenneth Walker, you wanted to kill Zach Charbonnet this year.
We have one of them in the room right now.
Yep, that was me.
Best running back tandem ever, by the way, was Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds. No, it can change my mind.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Does Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine not come to mind?
I was going to say
No.
Bilal Powell and Isaiah
I don't know.
Crowell.
Chase Edmonds
Oh
just
my
had a special
God.
run that 1 year.
Oh, all right, let's get into the second half of our mock draft. We're going to go 17 to 32. We did 1 through 16 last time. We're going to kind of fly through these ones because we kind of needed to go a little more in depth in the first 16. This is probably going to be a little bit faster. That's why we gave you a little bit of news. The last part of news would be that Kyler Murray, former number 1 overall pick to the Arizona Cardinals in 2018, has been cut from the team. And the next team to sign him will only pay just north of $1 million in that year. So I think a lot of people are going to be making a play for Kyler Murray. I know there's 2 teams, or maybe even 3 teams in this room that might take a little flyer on Kyler Murray coming up this year with the talent that he's shown down in the desert. But that's yet to be seen. We will see that in the coming days, coming weeks. You never know who will sign Kyler Murray. But we are going to go through 17 to 32 right now. Now, mind you, we did give the disclaimer that this was made before the NFL Combine. These picks will change pretty drastically, I think, coming up when we have our next mock draft next month before the actual NFL draft. But starting out at number 17, the Detroit Lions. This is the highest pick they've had in a few years because they've been pretty good coming into the postseason. Didn't make the postseason this year, but at 17, I think they need that kind of pair rusher with Aiden Hutchinson. I went with Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. Obviously, this kind of sounds stupid after looking at the Combine because there's a lot of good edge rushers in this class, but I think Keldrick Falk would pair very well.
I went with an edge rusher too as well, Connor. I think for the exact same reason they have to get that sort of Batman Robin to Aiden Hutchinson's Batman. A guy who was already a great edge rusher was Robin in college is Akeem Messidor. He was kind of playing the number 2 role to Ruben Bain at Miami and looked great. He's an older prospect, but he's a guy who's going to come into the league and make an immediate day 1 impact, which is kind of what the Lions need because they're kind of in a window right now where they want to contend. So I have Messidor going at 17 to the Lions.
I went with a unique position here. Now, I've done my research and I've asked Brett Burner, Detroit Lions fan. I've PFF. I don't really. After last week, I realized that PFF may not give the best positional needs, but I went with a tackle for Detroit. They need some offensive help. I gave them. I don't know how to say his last name, but Spencer Fano from Utah.
That's very low.
Low?
Yeah.
That is very low.
That's
If
very low.
Cleveland's there at 6 and he's there, I'm taking him. I don't even think twice.
I mean, there's another tackle who kind of made a name for himself with the Combine, I think.
I gave Cleveland.
Why have in the second half? Might go on higher than
RJ,
Fano,
I did give
Yep.
the Browns another pick, tackle.
I think I know
for the
exactly who
24th.
John's talking about.
Because
and
I
love
did
where
give
I'm
them.
on
I gave them Tate. They needed Tate more,
Yeah,
in
that's
my
fair.
opinion.
It just depends on how the board falls. I mean, for Detroit and my sake, I went cornerback. I went Avion Terrell. I think his skill set with Detroit's defense, I think they can really benefit from his services. I won't go too long because I know it's not the top 16, but I think he'd be a great selection for Detroit.
All right, number 18, the Minnesota Vikings. This is where I have Avion Terrell going. I think they definitely need help in the secondary. There's a lot of different positions you could go with for the Vikes, but I went with Terrell because, like RJ said, he's got that kind of skill set that can fit into any defense.
I love Terrell as well, Connor. I think he's a very smart player who Brian Flores is going to like a lot. You mentioned one of his biggest weaknesses is just kind of his hips, not getting him around fast enough. I think Brian Flores is a guy who can definitely help coach that out of him. This Viking team needs a lot of secondary help. You also could probably mock a safety here. We had some great safety performances at the Combine from a guy to Oregon, who I'll have later in this first round, but might go a bit higher up there. But anything in secondary is good for this team, and Brian Flores getting a nice chess piece for this defense right here.
Who'd you guys go with?
Avion Terrell.
Terrell.
I think I already had Terrell going, so I had another cornerback. I picked a lot of cornerbacks in my first round.
It's a good cornerback.
That is a very good
I
cornerback.
picked South Carolina cornerback Brandon Cease.
Brandon Cisse?
Cisse, yes.
He's pretty good.
You know what? Whenever I was searching like Minnesota's immediate needs, they kind of gave picks that could be taken in the second or third round. I believe one was running back. They gave a center, which I haven't really heard of a center that's been mocked in the first.
No,
or not many
really
teams.
Not
many teams
Pretty rare.
need a center. Yeah,
Creed Humphrey's the only one that can come to mind.
JPJ
it was
Humphreys didn't go first round. He went second round.
Oh, that's right.
it was
JPJ didn't go first round.
Billy Price.
Did
He was a
JPJ?
center.
Oh wait, JPJ
did not go. We all had him mocked in the first. We went pretty decently mid-second.
That's
yeah,
weird.
but it was either running back, center, or DB. Like you said, John's secondary help just makes sense.
For the Vikings, I went opposite of what you guys went. Last pick, I went Keldrick Falk. It's really interesting now. I made this before. There was main rumors about Hargrave maybe getting cut or traded. I know Jonathan Greenard as well might be getting traded or cut, one or the other. There's some smoke there for Minnesota's defense. I think adding a guy like Keldrick Falk on the edge would be a really big bonus and would be cheaper on the cap.
All right, number 19, a fan favorite team of mine and Dom's, the Carolina Panthers, who made the postseason this year. That was a very fun watch. But number 19, the Carolina Panthers, I have them taking some guy that really, really stood out to me in the pre-draft. Zion Young. I think he's very good out of Mizzou. I think he really fits that kind of dog-pound scheme down there in Carolina. I think it's going to be really fun to watch him with that Carolina defense.
Yeah, fun team, the Panthers right here. Had a great postseason run this year. Don Brusco loves them. They have a good nose tackle in Derek Brown. I'm sorry, a great nose tackle in Derek Brown. They have a great cornerback in J.C. Horn. They have some young edge rushers in Nick Scorton who can probably kind of start to develop alongside that. What they don't have on the defense is a field general linebacker. So I have him grabbing a guy who Kirby Smart had some high praise for in C.J. Allen. He was hurt at the end of last year, kind of hampered his play a bit. But, I mean, when Kirby Smart says this guy can run my defense by himself, that's some pretty high praise from a great coach right here. So he's going to kind of be that field general for the Panthers and kind of help complete this defense. I think there's a lot of talent on it right now, and you can probably even add some more in free agency in the draft.
You're right, John. This defense does have a lot of talent. What I like to specifically see in the postseason was that secondary, both J.C. Horn and I think it's Mike Jackson, who's their
Yes.
other
It was Mike
cornerback.
Jackson.
He was low key. He had Puka on lockdown, but I like that. I gave them a D lineman. I went with Ohio State's Caden McDonald. I feel like it's a good pick for them. They need some defensive line help. Their secondary is already good, clear cut. For some reason, they need a wide receiver, which I very much doubt that they're going to take because they have Leggett and Jalen Coker, which Jalen Coker is honestly the two at this point.
That'd be a luxury for them.
Yeah, they're good on offense right now. Maybe they need to fix the offensive line, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, Dom, I think it'd be an interesting pick. A little bit higher than I would have thought, but hey, I mean, he has talent there, but I'm agreeing with John. I have him taking C.J. Allen, but now with this combine, I don't think he's going to fall this far. But
I'm with you, RJ.
This was pre-mock or pre-combine.
That's some great quotes from Kirby Smart on him. That's just very great to hear from great coach.
Having that ability, you're going to have a guy go higher. But in this case now, if Carolina can get him at 19, it's great value.
That would be insane value. Number 20 is the Dallas Cowboys. I know a lot of people have them double dipping with cornerbacks, which I definitely think they could do, but I think they need some kind of edge pressure. Their edge rushers are kind of getting up there, so I think Akeem Mesidor really fits that defensive scheme that they want to run down there in Dallas. I think that'd be a great pickup for them.
It's kind of funny because I think Did any of us else have them taking Sonny Styles last time out? I thought you did, RJ. Yeah. That's a funny pick to look back on. He's going to go much higher than that. Talk about a phenomenal combine. Yeah. Sorry, Dallas. He's not going to fall to you guys. But I do have him taking an edge rush here as well, Gunnar. I have him grabbing T.J. Parker out of Clemson. This was a guy who was a very early projected first-round pick at the start of last year in those way too early mocks. They're always fun to look back on. But he had a rough year at Clemson, but he's had some good kind of revivals, reminders of who the player he could be at the Senior Bowl and the Combine this past week. So I think he's a player who can just kind of be – they need someone who can get to the quarterback. That Micah trade still haunts them to this day, but if they could come out of here in an ideal Cowboys world of Styles and T.J. Parker, even though it sounds very unlikely right now, that'd be a pretty good start to building this defense back up.
No, I don't know if all of you guys had this guy last episode, but some of us are high on him, some of us are low. I had the Dallas Cowboys taking Cassius Howell at this
He had
pick.
a bad combine, so
He did.
I feel like this is actually an appropriate level where he should be at.
He might go even lower than that because his combine was that bad.
The one thing I did see from Cassius Howell at the Combine is he had the fastest speed to turn a corner since Will Anderson.
That's pretty good.
That's something that's to note, but I don't think he's going to bode well in the NFL.
He has shorter arms than Bane, right?
He does. I believe so.
Crazy.
Will Anderson is like on the rise of being a superstar.
Oh, he always
He is a superstar.
Houston's getting a deal done with him now for a reason. But for 20, I also went Connor's route. Akeem Messidor is my selection here. I mean, you have Dante Fowler, Donovan Izaraku, and then a backup with Dante is Jadeveon Clowney. That's age problem. If you can get Messidor in there, and you saw what he did during the college football playoff, I think that'd be a great addition for Dallas to, guess what? Attack the quarterback. I mean, that's how you do it, is with your edge rushers. Messidor fits that role.
All right. 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the lowest pick of anybody in this room that has. Actually, no. Never mind. They have 2 picks in the first round, the Cleveland Browns. But number 21 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know there's a couple different people that are going to make a couple different people in here very mad. I went with one that I talked to Don Brusco, resident Steeler fan, about, and he seemed pretty okay with. I love KC Conception. I think he's very good. He would fit that kind of scheme. He's that deep guy that you need. Calvin Austin's a deep threat. I think KC Conception kind of brings in that route tree as well. I think he's that kind of guy that you need if you're going to take a shot on a quarterback like Kyler Murray, because I think the Steelers are going to take that shot on Kyler Murray. I think that's where he's going to go. But I think KC Conception would really fit that offense, and that's exactly what you want if you're running that kind of Mike McCarthy offense.
Yeah, sorry, Dom. I'm giving you guys Ty Simpson. This team just can't keep having a new quarterback every year. They just eventually they have to pick somebody to build around.
Will Howard exists. He's on
Will
the team
Howard
right
is
now.
not even the close
Has
prospect
he
to Ty
even
Simpson.
He hasn't even been given a rep in the NFL, and you're already writing him
So
off.
make him compete. Make him compete.
Ty Simpson is not. That's a waste of a first round
Listen,
pick.
for
Waste.
Ty Simpson, as much as hate as people are giving him, he did have a great start to the year. He got hurt. I think he's a guy who, listen, there's a lot worse players you can cast your lot with at the quarterback position.
And there's a lot better players that you can help the Steelers with, like wide receivers.
But eventually, I mean, is Rodgers going to be their quarterback next year? It's looking like he hasn't said anything yet because he's an enigma and a weirdo. But eventually, they've seen somebody to say we can build around this guy. I think Ty Simpson has potential. He also is that kind of quarterback whom Mike McCarthy likes. He likes a bigger pocket passer quarterback, which this guy is. So. They can't keep changing it every year. Eventually, they're going to have to take somebody.
You know how teams are usually successful, John? They usually have a really well-structured team before they bring in the quarterback. Good example.
Fine structure.
Good example. The situation that Ben Roethlisberger came into Pittsburgh, they didn't draft the offense to cater to him. The offense was already there. It was already built in. It was already established. You need to establish the offense. You need to get a wide receiver that's going to help out your young quarterback. Yes, we drafted Will Howard, but he's developing. He's going to be a bust or not. We drafted him later. So what? So what if he ends up not being good? I don't think this is the draft where you get a quarterback for the Steelers. So I went with now this guy is kind of very similar to DK Metcalf in that he has like the size parallel and kind of like he's a bigger guy. I went with Denzel Boston. I feel like it would be a good fit for Pittsburgh, but I like Connor's point, and you did say he was kind of like Hines Ward, kind of a different receiver.
Yeah.
And I could see Conception going here as well. I could see a multitude of receivers. Just get that 2 guy. It's been the problem over the past few years. Calvin Austin is a slot guy. You need a receiver here.
Plus, Conception killed it in his interviews. He went up there with a speech impediment, and he looked very articulate. He was very good in the drills. He looked very straight on the gauntlet. So I think he's going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah, I think if you go receiver there for the Steelers at 21, either of those guys you can't go wrong. Depends on what philosophy you want to run there for Mike McCarthy. However, I did not pick receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I picked Ty Simpson as in
Yes.
what you can do. He does not need to start in year one.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have to. Say Rodgers will come back for another year. You can have Rodgers there. Ty Simpson develop for a year. Have him take over. If it's a smooth transition and you see that improvement to the NFL level, this could be a really good first-round pick, and then he could be production. He can give you that production, and guess what? You wouldn't have a quarterback problem the next year, and that's something pretty big for Pittsburgh.
Considering we are all going to the draft, watching Dom get his team to draft Ty Simpson in his home city would be, that's a good point, Dom. That's a very good point. But that would be the greatest. I would take a video of that, and that'd be the greatest video of all time. Because Dom would crash out.
I think I would
The crash out
actually
be
like
legendary.
live leave the draft, and I want to be like front stage when it happens. I'm like, so I can just
That's not
tell him
gonna
he's
be
like
possible.
he stinks and he's a loser and he'll never be good because he doesn't perform well under pressure. It just doesn't look good. I don't like Ty Simpson. Don't like him
People
at
are
all.
hating on
Don't
him
like
too
Drew
much.
Aller.
People are hating on
I'm
him too
hating him
much.
because he could ruin the next few years for my franchise.
Personally,
Like you're gonna win anything anyway.
Sorry, oh my bad. I'm sorry. You're used to that though. So you're used to that. So
you can either lose
that's
in the.
fine.
You can don't. I think he's a quarterback you can definitely lose in the first round with. So
I think Aller's a top 3 quarterback prospect in this class. No. I need to emphasize the word prospect.
don't disrespect Taylor Green like that.
No.
Don't you
Taylor Green-
disrespect Jalen Daniels like that.
Taylor Green's going to be a tight end. But number 22, the LA Chargers, I think this is the perfect pick for them. I have them taking Ola Ioana from Penn State. He is very, very good. He can play pretty much anywhere on the O-line, but he's a guard, and that's exactly what they need. They need any kind of offensive line help. I think he'd be perfect.
Yeah, if the board felt like this, they're going to run to the podium with that pick. Their guard play was abysmal last year. They just cut Mekhi Becton, who honestly, highly robbery for him, getting that after kind of using the Eagles to kind of fix himself and then getting a nice contract from the Chargers. He was a disaster last year. Bradley Bozeman was also gone. Vega One is a great guard prospect. It takes a lot to take a guard in the first round. But look at the past guys who have done that. Chris Lindstrom comes to mind. Quentin Nelson comes to mind. Those have all been great players who have been kind of starting with their teams for a while now. I think they're going to get a nice kind of cornerstone offensive line piece for Herbert here who can go along with those 2 tackles they have in Alt and Slater. But I'm right with you, Connor.
I also went with the same exact pick. They need offensive line help. It was clear from that playoff game. Get some help.
No way.
Yep, we actually swept.
Oh,
I'm
my
not even going to
God.
attempt the
It's
name.
the easiest pick ever.
How do you say the name?
Vega Owane?
It's Oliva Vega Ioana.
Oliva Ega Ioana.
Well, everyone calls him Ola. It's like Olu Fashanu.
Okay. So it's Ola.
It's Ola Ioana.
Ola Ioana. It's a fun name, though.
Yeah, very fun name. Another fun name coming up for me in this one. I think this is a home run. Dallas Goedert is not exactly projected to stay with the Eagles, so I think they need to take the successor. The Eagles are known for their elite tight end play, and Jalen Hurts cannot function fully at his best without an elite tight end. I think Kenyon Sadiq has the potential to do that. Now, there's a lot of buzz about Kenyon Sadiq going 18 to the Vikings. I could see that as well with TJ Hawkinson's production dropping drastically last year. No, he was coming off an injury, but I think Kenyon Sadiq would be the perfect fit for Philly.
He'd be a great fit. Unfortunately, I already had him off the board, though, for the Steelers. Not the Steelers. The Eagles. There are actually some questions on this offensive line right now, which is kind of out of character for them. Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson have both confirmed they're coming back, but Lane Johnson does not have many years left. He's getting up there in age, and Landon Dickerson was just very hurt last year. There are actually rumors he could retire coming into the offseason. He is staying around, so that's good for the Eagles fans, but they have a kind of a tradition of kind of taking these bigger tackles, kicking them inside. You kind of saw that with Mekhi Becton right here. So I have him grabbing Caden Proctor from Alabama. He's a guy who could start inside for them if they need to, if Dickerson gets hurt again, or to kind of fill that Mekhi Becton hole, or if you need to get rid of Cam Durkin, who's got a rough year last year. I think he can eventually kind of be that successor to Lane Johnson you kind of hope for, because he does not have many years left right here. And I mean, you see this Eagles team, they are ran through their offensive line. It was worse last year. That's why they were worse this year. And they're going to get a big, dominant tackle from Alabama right here and just kind of help kind of get the next generation kind of in with the offensive line to kind of keep their offense functioning how they want it to function.
Now, there's a lot of needs that the Eagles could take. I mean, for example, nobody really knows what's going to happen with A.J. Brown. So I went with edge rusher T.J. Parker from Clemson to go here. I feel like that they need some help on defense. They kind of struggle when it comes to the vertical threat at some parts of the season where that kind of bit them in the you-know-what and ended up having them lose games. There's a lot of things that they need to address here. I feel like an edge rusher would help them. I do like your take, Connor, though, that they like to kind of just get players in and out without having to pay them like big bags of money. I feel like Dallas Goedert is as good as gone.
Yeah. There has been a lot of talk from my Philly sources of Dallas Goedert not returning. I could see why. That's the Howie deal. He likes getting guys on cheap deals. That's why Nakobe Dean is a free agent, because they got what was it? I cannot for the life of me remember his name. Jahad Campbell. That's why they drafted Jahad Campbell, to essentially replace Nakobe Dean, because you're not going to replace Zach Bond. So I think that's kind of what they have the recycle repeat there in Philly, and I think that's just what works for them.
Yeah, I think it's a smart thing because you're saving cap, and Howie Roseman is probably one of the best in the NFL at saving cap. So I also took Kaden Sadiq. I know there's also a lot of rumors that David Njoku might even be going to Philadelphia. I've heard a little bit of heat there, don't know, but Goddard's about gone. You need a replacement. I think Sadiq can step in day one and give you that tight end production that'll really help Jalen Hurts.
We almost swept that pick. I'm very upset about that.
Who won against that? Me?
Me and
Okay, never mind.
Split.
Yeah, 24 is the second Cleveland Browns pick of this first round. There's a couple teams in here twice. They are one of them. And number 24, I have them going with a position that they direly need, a wide receiver. And I have them going with Denzel Boston. A lot of people have been saying that he's basically just Keon Coleman all over again. I don't think so. I think he can translate at the NFL level, and I think he is a surefire first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, the way the board fell for me in the first half of this mock, they couldn't get a tackle in that 6th overall pick they had, because both of them were off the board by that point. So I'm going to get a tackle here, and Utah's Caleb Lomu, the opposite Spencer Fano. He also had a great year at Utah last year, and they got a receiver earlier in this draft, Cornell Tate. They're going to get a tackle right here as well and kind of start building the offensive infrastructure back around for whoever's playing quarterback for them, because, I mean, they have a Pro Bowler there, so you want to make sure he's set up to win. So
I already had Cleveland getting their number one receiver in Cornell Tate, so I want them going with some offensive line help here, as you need to protect whoever your quarterback is, whether that be Shadur or insert name quarterback on what their plan is. I'm very confident it'll probably be Shadur. I went with Caden Proctor from Alabama. I feel like that's a great value pick for them. Do they still have their veteran Baton? Is he gone yet or no? Almost.
He's still mulling retirement. That's not official. We don't know anything with that yet.
Yeah, but that's like the one immediate need for me for Cleveland. Right after receiver, you need to help build up that offensive line. I mean, you got all the weapons last year. Last year was a great draft, even though apparently from this week I learned that some people disagree with that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, from when I made this mock draft, Cleveland actually traded for Tyus Howard. That's tackle out of Houston, giving him a decent deal. I think
he's going to play tackle or guard for you guys?
That's a tough question. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to do more research on it. But I still had him taking tackle at this time. I had him taking Caden Proctor here on this original mock at 24. If I had to redo it again, I'd probably have Caleb Lomu come in here. I just like him more as a prospect better than Caden. I think his stock's kind of been plummeting a while, so I think he might be more in that 29 to 32 range. But I had him originally here going Caden Proctor.
Yeah, there was initial talk at the start of the year of Caden Proctor going 1, and I thought that was kind of crazy. So, I mean, his stock is definitely tanked. Number 25 is the Chicago Bears. I think the one glaring flaw on this defense is they need a run stuffer, and they need it badly, and I think Peter Woods is exactly what they need on that defensive line. He fills that last gap in the defense, in my opinion, and I think he'd be a home run pick for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I also have him going interior defensive line here. I have him snagging up Caleb Banks of Florida. Has had a great couple of performances at Senior Bowl in the Combine. Really just a strong interior nose tackle. I mean, they have Grady Jarrett there, but this defense really relied a lot on turnovers last year, which just isn't something you can really rely on to build a defense around, because it's just not very consistent. If you want to build a more consistent defense, I think you start with getting a guy who can just kind of be that interior force. And I think Caleb Banks definitely is that out of Florida.
I also went with a defensive lineman, though. I went with Lee Hunter from Texas Tech. I already had your two guys going, so again, they need another run stuffer. Why is that high? Is that high for Lee Hunter?
I would say.
I'd say
I did have a lot of D linemen going.
That's fair.
But if that's how your board falls, it's just how
I mean,
is.
I've already had Caden McDonald go. I've already had Peter Woods go. Who'd you say, John? You said Caleb Banks. I had him
and
go.
one of the Jets, yeah.
I said Zion Young.
He's an edge rusher, not a nose tackle.
Nose tackle.
They also
yeah.
an edge rusher, too, so.
Yeah, I went defensive lineman myself. I went Peter Woods here at 25 for the Bears, but I think a sleeper sneaky pick for our next mock draft was the offensive guard. It was Drew. I forget his last name. Oh, my goodness.
Drew Dahlman retired.
Yeah, that's what it
That's
was.
what you're talking about.
Sudden
Yeah.
retirement. You don't know if the board falls properly if you have him going either guard or try to switch one of the tackles to guards, but I have him going Peter Woods right now.
Definitely have to consider that in the next mock we do.
Definitely. Number 26, the Buffalo Bills. There's a lot of people saying you need to take a wide receiver here. The way my board fell, I don't think they would take a wide receiver. So, number 26, I have them taking a very, very good player. Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. He's such a good linebacker. He would fit that system to a T. And I think that would really shore up that defense so they can feel comfortable taking a wide receiver in the second round because it's a pretty deep wide receiver class.
Yeah, listening to the Bills-Jaguars game was hilarious because just how many random receivers the Bills had. Brandon Cooks. They brought back Gabe Davis, which was hilarious, and it was just a mess of bodies right there. So I have him getting Denzel Boston right here. I mean, Keon Coleman's as good as gone. When the owner basically insults you at a press conference, you're gone, pal. I think Denzel Boston's a guy who can kind of be what you maybe thought Keon Coleman could have been. Very physical receiver out of Washington. And RJ?
We have some news.
Ooh,
I was not expecting this. This is really weird.
breaking
Stephon Diggs has been cut.
news. Ooh.
Like right now?
It's probably
Yes.
because of the legal issues.
Yes.
Oh, so perfect. Yeah.
All
He had an
right.
additional $6 million guaranteed. This is from Tom Pelissero. The Patriots
Ooh.
didn't want to drag along.
Yeah,
They wanted
the
him gone.
legal issues are probably
Fresh
pretty
start.
bad.
AJ Brown's a Pat.
So to me, in my opinion, you could just interchange multiple wide receivers after Carnell Tate. I've already had Mekhi Lemon go. Already had Denzel Boston. I will have Casey Conception go. I do have the Bills taking Jordan Tyson here.
Yeah, I could see him falling there. His injuries
He
are a
fell
problem.
far.
His injuries are a problem, man.
He
You
fell
guys-
far for me. I felt like I don't know. I didn't like him. I don't know. I honestly should have put him with the Steelers, but I like Denzel Boston's like height and build.
He's been great through
I don't know if he
pre-draft.
falls past us at 16.
Doesn't he? Wasn't
That's
he
my
the one with
question.
injury concerns?
He has a lot of injury concerns.
He's the wide receiver with injury concerns. Mekhi Lemon was the one with character concerns. I feel like that's the one that's kind of
Yeah, Mekhi will definitely be falling in the next mock.
Oh wait, I had Titans taking Carnell Tate. You guys took Mekhi Lemon. I had you take. Oops.
Oh,
that's not happening.
Honestly, you should. I
Please,
should probably interchange that because character concerns are more of a.
I don't think
more
it's a
than
big
injury.
deal.
I mean,
we'll have to
we'll
wait.
see.
We'll have to wait and see. But for my pick at 26 for the Bills, I haven't taken Denzel Boston here. I think if he slots you at 26, it's great value. You can't pass it up. You need a receiver for Josh Allen. Denzel Boston can translate that at the pro level.
Yeah, I think if there was anything to change this pick, I would probably take for the Bills, who I have the Broncos taking in this one. I guess you'll just have to wait and see. But number 27, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this is like a storybook pick for me. Trent Williams is getting up there. He's not getting any older. And guess who I have sitting under him until he retires and is going to be the successor to that? Caden Proctor. I think that would be a home run. That'd be like an Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love type situation. I feel like you would just kind of learn from him, go on the opposite side of him, and absolutely become a dog in San Fran. That would be Kyle Shanahan's wet dream.
Yeah, Niners, their defense was a mess last year, and a lot of that was because of injuries. They just could not stay healthy in the end of the ball right there. Another big part of that was that they lost one of their key playmakers in the past couple years, and that was Talanoa Hufanga. So I haven't taken a guy who can kind of fill that role of being a playmaking safety. And I'm actually having taken Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo, Ohio University. Yes, we're getting some Mac love on this podcast. This guy is a hard hitter. He's a disruptor. He's a playmaker. He can be everything to Niners defense that kind of Hofungo was. I think he can kind of fill that void because they're missing something out of that right now, man. It is a great year to need a safety. There's a lot of good, great guys in the draft and free agency right here. I think McNeil-Warren is one of the best out of this crop. He is just a hard-hitting playmaker. I mean, we just saw one of those guys, Nicky Manwuri, kind of make a big impact in the Seahawks Super Bowl run. So if Niners can get one of these guys here late in the first round, I mean, I think you take that chance.
He killed at the combine.
He had an awesome
He had
combine.
great measurables as well. He's 6'4". He's huge for a safety.
My dream was him falling to the Jets at 33. I don't know if that will happen, but I mean,
Now, with this pick, I went with wide receiver for San Fran because they've had a lot of controversial issues here. I mean, Brandon Ayuk just disappeared in smoke. I mean, character concerns, of course, and then I guess he was speeding or whatever. Yeah, he's gone. He'll probably return for some minor role. You have Ricky Pearsall, who, well, he won't return to the Niners. He'll probably Antonio Brown type of 1 week affair. Yeah, but Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, I mean, they're okay, but you kind of need another guy to help support them. Here, I went with Casey Conception.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it would be a good fit for them.
that is kind of their mold of receiver, I feel like.
I thought you were going with a different wide receiver.
Who do you think I was going to go with?
You'll see. I love this
there
wide
another
receiver.
one?
I think I might have him higher.
Is it Mizzou?
No.
Is it Notre Dame?
Nope. You'll see. You'll see.
I had John. We were kind of in the same track of how San Francisco was going to go, but different player. Had him going Dylan Theinman out of Oregon. I think he's really good at this pick, but the flip flop because of the combine performance.
He's going to go
Something to
higher. He
consider.
might go higher.
He's
He
gonna
had a
go
great
higher,
combine.
Yeah, I think really. But as of this time, I had the mock. I haven't taken Dylan Theinman.
That's definitely a draft riser. Number 28. I think this is a pick that John was talking about. John and I were talking about earlier.
The same guy, don't we? Yeah.
Houston Texan, Georgia tackle. I think he's going to go higher than this. Monroe Freeling, he is a dog. And I mean, the dogs create dogs. And I mean, this guy is going to be so good, and it's exactly what the Texans need to protect C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, this guy's. I have the same thing as Connor. Monroe Freeling going here to the Texans. He's not falling that far. He had a phenomenal combine. Really might honestly put himself up there in that sort of top tackle range with Mauanoa and Fano up there. What I like about him is that he's a true tackle. He's not one of these guys who's like, if you tackle, you have to kick him aside to guard. He is a true stand-up tackle, which I think is very important right now. Because you don't want to Will Campbell yourself right there. So keep C.J. Stroud upright and just kind of pound that route with Montgomery. That'd be a fun pick for them if he does make it there.
I also went with that actual same pick because the Houston Texans need a lot of help on that offense. Well, not a lot of help. It's kind of like injury concerns, that kind of, their defense, more than good, more than capable. God knows if C.J. Stroud will even be their quarterback. But you definitely need some offensive line help if you're going to have a running back core that deep.
Yeah, that was one of my more hotter takes. I believe it was a few weeks ago with CJ not being there. He's going to be there. I think the whole organization kind of doubled down on him. For me, though, I'm going inside for the defense. You know what? Might as well make him better, right? Have him going Caden McDonald here at pick 28. I think if he would fall to him. But obviously with the tackle and the different things they've done with their O-line, if I were to switch, I'd probably go offensive line.
I believe Sheldon Ranks is a free agent.
I
could be
believe
wrong
he
on
is.
that. I believe he is. But that'd be a nice kind of replacement pick. He's going to get payday somewhere. He is good.
Definitely. Number 29, this is right now what we had was the Rams pick, but this is now going to be the Chiefs pick in this upcoming draft. I had them going Caleb Lomu. I think they just need a little help with an aging offensive line, getting
Chiefs
somebody
or
out there.
Rams?
Rams.
Rams, yeah, the Rams, I'm going tackle as well. I'm going Blake Miller out of Clemson right here.
Ooh.
It's kind of a sort of stand-up right tackle guy right there. I think if the Chiefs were here, I'd probably have him going because I did not have Caden McDonald or Peter Woods off the board yet. Just kind of a product of just the draft class. Having a lot of other stacked players on defense right here at the secondary and at linebacker. But if I had to do it for the Chiefs, I'd probably have him taking one of those guys so I can build around Chris Jones. But for the Rams, I mean, if they need to get help from Matt Stafford, I think honestly they might do it at pick 12 now. Or pick 13 now, sorry, because they have gotten their cornerback need filled with McDuffie right here. So,
well, if I was picking for the Rams, well, I'm just going to give them the same pick because the Chiefs now need a cornerback to replace McDuffie. I went with, for the Rams, I originally had them taking Keith Abney, the second from Arizona State, because I had so many cornerbacks go in this draft. And they also needed an immediate need of a cornerback. A bit of a reach, but I also did have 1, 2,
Where did
3,
you have Colton Hood going?
4. I don't have Colton Hood in this. He was
You
not
don't?
mocked. No, he was not mocked.
That's crazy.
That's
Well, okay, I guess Colton Hood or insert cornerback would go here.
I had the Rams going Caleb Lomu here. Honestly, though, if this was a Chiefs pick and this board still falls the way it has been, I'd still have him taking it. They released Jawan Taylor, I believe it was today, so you could still make an argument for this pick, so I'm still going to keep it. Caleb Lomu at 29.
All right, 30, the Denver Broncos. Now, there's 3 guys on this list that I have left. There's only 3 more picks. I think all of them could be risers. Number 30, I think they need another out-and-out receiver. That defense is just fine. I think they need to get this is the Broncos where they could go with a bit of a luxury pick. I went with Omar Cooper out of Indiana. I think he is one of the most bendy receivers in this draft. He's made some incredible catches with Fernando Mendoza as his quarterback at Indiana. You can cite that catch at Penn State for the winner. That was an absolutely insane catch. Probably the catch of the year in college, I think, in my opinion. That saved their undefeated season. But I think he slots right into that Sean Payton offense, and that's going to be really, really fun watching that.
Yeah, Broncos, their biggest thing is probably linebacker without Singleton's age, but this is a great linebacker class. I have been going with Dylan Feeneyman out of Oregon right here for one reason. That's because P.J. Locke is a free agent. He contributed on that defense last year. I have a hard time believing they'll pay 2 safeties good money because they already paid Hufanga last year. And with the way the board fell, I mean, Feeneyman's the best player there, so he can kind of be that P.J. Locke role and just help a great defense get better.
I agree that I think that the Broncos should fix a little bit of things on their offense. I really like this pick for them. I'm giving them a tight end. I'm giving them Sadiq from Oregon. I feel like it would be a good pick because Bo Nix is known to make those check down passes. I know that he has Ingram, right?
Yeah, Evan Ingram.
To me, I feel like another tight end would really help him to develop. Oh, well, I mean, he's a great quarterback as it is, or a good one. But I feel like this pick right here, you get him a nice young tight end that could help him make those little check down passes that we usually talk about. And then you could end up expanding upon that offense in later rounds.
This is one of my weirder picks because I think there's some explanation for this, but the way your guys' boards fall, your guys' picks look a lot better than mine. If the Broncos do not attack free agency with a big hitter running back, I have him going Jadarian Price at 30. I think that's a risk you're willing to take if you can't trade down from the selection. And at the time, I feel like this is before free agency. You get your running back.
It would be a bit, like I said, I think it's a bit of a luxury for the Broncos. They're a pretty well-rounded team as it is. I feel like they can take a shot in the first round on that kind of skill position player. So I could see them going Jadarian Price as well. But 31, the New England Patriots. This is a fun one because you can go a couple different directions with this one, especially now with the Stephon Diggs news. You could see a wide receiver going here. 31, I have them going TJ Parker. I had him falling a little bit in this one. I think he could rise back up, but I think they need that kind of edge help. Pairing him with Harold Landry would be a fun defensive duo.
Oh, we're doing what team are we on?
Pats.
I am going Max. I'm sorry, Aaron Judge hit a home run. I'm happy. I'm rewatching the clip again. So I got distracted. Baseball again on this podcast. I am going Max. Wish me luck. Ahianacher out of Arizona State.
Who?
Max. I can't pronounce his name. I'm
Let me
sorry.
see it.
I can't pronounce his name. Ahianacher.
It's Ian Atcher.
Ian Atcher out of Arizona State. I mean,
the only reason I know that is because there is an old Leicester striker named Kelechi Iheanacho.
Really?
Yep.
Ian Atcher.
Spelled exactly like that.
Max
with an R.
Iheanacho at Arizona State. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. You are a great player, and you have long arms. You know who doesn't have long arms? Will Campbell. You know the Patriots need? Offensive line. We all lost Super Bowl. Didn't win out. Drake May got killed. Get a guy who will help him not get killed. Simple pick right here.
Will Campbell might be a fraud.
Now, I went with an interesting pick here. I went with wide receiver. Now, I've gone with a lot of wide receivers, so I kind of have to go to the next one. I feel like this guy is a good slot receiver, had a good season, has played for multiple schools. And Drake May is known to throw some there's some statistics, something about him throwing deep balls. I went with Kevin Coleman from Mizzou.
Okay.
I like to pair him.
I don't know if he's first-round talent, but did you pick Omar Cooper? You're a crazy
Right.
person.
Dom hates Indiana. You forgot?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. You're an Indiana.
No, I
hater.
didn't. Yeah, anytime I see Indiana, I just
Dom
don't
is
pick
pure
them.
Indiana hater.
Watch Omar Cooper's tape. Trust
There
me.
is also another. Well, apparently there's this Notre Dame receiver. He's a day 2 though too.
Malachi Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He had a bad combine.
he
Day
did have a bad
two.
combine.
For the Patriots, this guy's a high riser, one of probably the highest risers in the combine. I went Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. He is not falling to 31, so this is going to be kind of irrelevant. But if he's there, holy steal.
All right, 32, the final pick in the first round, going to the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. There's a couple different ways you could go with this one. I think there's a glaring need opening up at corner. Tariq Woolen is not exactly slated to come back to the Seattle this year. So this is where I have Colton Hood sliding in. They got 2 Tennessee corners going in the first round. I think Colton Hood is exactly what they need to run this defense.
Yeah, I think one thing's been clear for the Seahawks in recent weeks. The writing is on the wall, and it's pretty bright. Kenneth Walker's, I think, in a bag in free agency. That's unfortunate because he's had a great run with them at Super Bowl, obviously taking on the MVP. And they need somebody to get the ball to the goal line so Charbonnet can run it in. I have been getting Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame right here. Second Notre Dame running back in the first round, kind of held back because he had to play behind Jeremiah Love, but boy, is he good. I mean, Kenneth Walker's going to get a bag. You can replace him immediately because you already have a pretty, this team does not need that much right here, so they can afford to take a running back in the first round.
I don't really think they need a running back. There's this guy on their team that they really like. His name is Zach Charbonnet.
Ugh.
So Jadarian Price doesn't really mean that's just simple cannon fodder that you don't really need.
Somebody has to get to the goal line so they can run it in.
That's fair.
Well, you got like a few receivers like JSN that could help you out. Maybe
What about
Cooper
you're
Kupp.
forgetting about George Olani? Goat.
And
Good.
anyways, I went with the linebacker
Bro.
here. There's not many immediate needs that this team needs, but you could have a little bit more help on the defense, even though that defense is really good, honestly. They had a home run pick last year with Emanwari from South Carolina. I had them taking linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas.
Good pick, Dom.
I feel like it's a good fit.
I also had Anthony Hill Jr. going here. I went more towards best available for Seattle. You can't get much
That's
better.
what I did.
And
he was
Anthony
right
Hill
there.
was there, and you got to select him at 32.
Yeah, if you watch Texas football, this guy was everywhere this year. I think he was very, very good. He's that kind of combo linebacker that you want. But that's going to do it for our second mock draft episode. We got the 17 to 32 done. We'll get back to you guys next week with a bit of a different episode. We got a second mock draft coming up mid to late April, but we'll get some different kind of off-season content going for you guys in the coming weeks. We thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of Stirring the Pot. Peace out.